Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, Carlito is done with WWE.
Could Keith Lee be set to miss the Elimination Chamber this weekend?
We've got an update on the WWE status of Bo Dallas, of all people.
And NXT UK signs Millie McKenzie. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Let's kick things off with Carlito. It appears that the comeback run that commenced at Royal Rumble 2021 is already over. It's done. For now, he is finished with the promotion. So Carlito showed up, a surprise entrant in the 2021 Royal Rumble. He was supposed to be at Raw Legends Night earlier in the month, but the WWE just, it turns out, didn't ask him properly or something. Something weird happened there. But he showed up in the Royal Rumble looking beefy as hell. Looked like he'd added about 20 pounds of muscle, the big boy. And then he appeared on the following night's episode of Raw as well. There was reports at the time that he was going to do a 3-week trial run, maybe get a job as a producer coming out of that, but it seems that this hasn't come to fruition. Carlito was interviewed, almost pulled my headphone out. Carlito was interviewed on the What a Day Joe show with Joe Lowry recently. This kind of flew under the radar a little bit, but here's the details. Basically said that his brief tenure was wrapped up with the tag match on the Raw after the Royal Rumble. However, Carlito says that he is open to whatever kind of idea is out there. If it was, a more permanent WWE return or maybe an appearance with AEW, he's, his bridges are down. He is open for negotiations. He also said that he would love to be part of WrestleMania 37 if the opportunity arose. Maybe throw him in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Why not?
Remember that time they randomly brought Tatanka back for the banter? It's just like, come on, give Carlito a shot. No huge surprises here, I guess, although when Carlito did come back, a lot of us were thinking, is he going to be this year's MVP? It's very difficult to be this year's MVP because MVP is like one of the best managers in the game, and Carlito's very good at his job, but MVP is exceptional, like on Raw, one of the best things on that show every single week. So tough situation, kind of sucks for him. I hope that he does get another shot in wrestling because he looked really good, and also he's massive now, and I love my big beefy boys. So there you go.
Yeah, it's a shame this one, isn't it? Like you say, it was great to see him back. You definitely feel there's some sort of role he can play, whether it be, a bit like the Hurricane, being more of a producer and then occasionally just sort of popping up and doing stuff, or occasional sort of Legends appearances. I think that's right. The difficulty, I think, obviously, with him right now is his main gimmick, spitting apple in people's faces, is a no-go. But I liked him. Like you say, he looked incredible. I think your idea of having him in the Battle Royal at WrestleMania is a great shout because I think with all these legends they've brought back recently, I feel a bit sad for them not getting that pop, aside from pop.wav or whatever it is that they press on their keyboard of noises. So hopefully we will see him back in the WWE or in AEW, like you say. He clearly has some sort of role to play, and I do hope we see him again. And just as you mentioned MVP there, all of us here at WhatCulture hope MVP recovers because he got injured. Am I right in thinking on Raw, Andy?
Hurt his knees, getting checked out in Alabama. We should have some updates, but Dave Meltzer was saying on Wrestling Observer Radio that it reminded him of when Kevin Nash tore his quad. So we hope it's not that serious, obviously. But I saw MVP joking that he's only working on one good knee or something like that. So fingers crossed, it's okay, but we'll bring you updates as they come for sure. If not here, then on the website.
Exactly. Get well soon, MVP. So he looks set to miss the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Not that he probably would have been hooked on it, but still. Someone else who may be missing that pay-per-view, look at that seamless transition, is Keith Lee, according to Dave Meltzer on the latest episode of the Wrestling Observer Radio. He said Keith Lee's status for the Chamber is up in the air right now. Of course, Keith Lee was supposed to be part of that amazing battle triple threat between himself, Bobby Lashley and Riddle for their United States Championship. He got engaged recently. Congratulations to he and Mia Yim, of course. And he's going to be a real miss for me at the Chamber. It's not been the main roster debut that many of us hoped for, but I really thought this match had an air of potential redemption for him. And I just thought all three men, I assumed Lashley was probably going to retain because he's on a tear right now, but I thought it was a contender for match of the night. And I'm sure, Riddle and Lashley will do great stuff. It's just we've seen a lot of those one-on-one matches, Andy.
Yeah, we have. There is still a chance that Keith Lee could make the pay-per-view, but Dave's report was very much like something's going on here, but we don't quite know what. So, yeah, Keith's had a weird run over the past month or so. He was off television for a while. He missed the Royal Rumble. He came back last week. He was off the show again this week. WWE covered it. What did they say? Something like, hey, Bobby Lashley beat him up, so he's not here, which is a good way of styling that into a storyline. I do think the triple threat is a little bit more interesting, particularly as they've beaten Matt Riddle like a drum, really, on Raw as part of this feud. And, Bobby Lashley has looked great as part of all of this, but at the same time, do you really want to flatten your challenger every single week? I don't know. It's a strange direction to go. But I hope Bobby Lashley retains anyway. I just, he's having a really great year, Bobby, in general. Like, since he got away from the Lana crap and hooked up with MVP in the Hurt Business, it's been really good stuff for him. Keith Lee, as well, I think is a tremendous all-round performer. Sing his praises all the time. So hope to see him at the pay-per-view. It'll really suck if he misses out. So,
yeah, I've heard
really
people, and I can't really disagree with them, suggest that maybe you put Lashley into the world title. I know he fought for the world title in the immediate aftermath of last year's WrestleMania, but yeah, I mean, Drew McIntyre beating everyone in the chamber and going, well, who's left? And Bobby Lashley going, I'm murdering people over here, so I'll have a shot.
Yeah.
Difficulty with the United States Championship, of course. I don't know, just quickly on Keith Lee, Andy, do you reckon he'd benefit from maybe being taken off TV and brought back to a bit of fanfare, maybe even switching shows in the immediate aftermath of WrestleMania?
Yeah, I mean, that might definitely help him a little bit, because the poor guy has not had much of a main roster run, really. He beat Randy Orton in 8 minutes or something on pay-per-view, and we're like, oh, this is awesome, and he was like circling the world title scene, and we're like, this is a great start, and then it's just kind of petered away. And yes, he's rubbing shoulders with people who've been around for a long time and have a bit of prestige, but it's not really offering much upward progression for big beefy Keithy at the moment. So
an up and down year for him.
An up and down year, exactly. There you go. I would like to see him maybe refocused a little bit whenever he comes back to TV. Speaking of people who, well, I mean, this guy definitely won't be on the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Bo Dallas, right? The hell's going on with Bo Dallas? This guy hasn't been on WWE TV. His last appearance was in Saudi Arabia on a broadcast show, Crown Jewel, in October 2019. He's not around. He hasn't worked a live event or anything like that since November 2019. He's just not there. What's going on with the guy? Dave Meltzer, Wrestling Observer Radio, was doing his mailbag segment yesterday, and somebody asked this very question: where is Bo Dallas? Meltzer replied that, the whole creative have nothing for you thing gets banded around a lot in situations like this. It's kind of like a go-to, but in Bo's case, that really is the situation. Apparently, creative just has nothing for him, and has had nothing for him for over a year?
Wow.
That's a long, long time. That's a lot of time sitting in catering, brother. Dave called it a big mystery, the whole situation. Obviously, he wasn't released as part of the mass cuts in April 2020. Despite not really being used at all, his tag team partner, Curtis Axel, he was let go as part of this. Was his dad, Mike Rotunda, furloughed or something at the time as well? I would need to check up on that, but it rings a bell for some reason. Either way, Bo Dallas is on the shelf gathering dust, gathering mothballs. Big mystery surrounding him, but creative has nothing for him at the end of the day. Wonder when we'll see him again.
Yeah, weird all this. An enjoyable character on WWE TV, and like you say, emblematic of they've got so many bloody people on that roster. It's kind of understandable that some people may get slightly forgotten about, but former NXT champion, he's clearly got something to offer. I thought he was great as part of the Miz Taraj and what have you. So hopefully something will come along for him soon. But I think particularly in the current ongoing global bastard climate, he's just going to be missing from TV for a little while longer. Someone who isn't going to be missing from TV by the looks of things is UK star Millie McKenzie, who TalkSport's Alex McCarthy has reported has signed with WWE and is due to appear on the NXT UK brand imminently. Now, she's had a bit of a history with WWE. She first popped up, I believe, in 2018 as part of that NXT UK Women's Championship tournament. Then she turned down the chance to sign with WWE a year later, but now she's finally put pen to paper on a contract. Big fans of Millie McKenzie here at WhatCulture. We were lucky enough to have her in WCPW, and I believe she's a former Defiant Women's Champion. She is someone who everyone noticed from a young age because she's just so talented. She's a real standout performer, and she could be really someone to watch out for in the next year or so, Andy.
Yeah, Millie McKenzie's, what was she, 20 years old?
20 years old,
young.
yeah.
Really young. WWE just hoovering everyone up at the moment. I think Millie McKenzie's got all the potential in the world, and she's ridiculously good for someone of her age. She will definitely be a standout in that NXT UK women's division. WWE preparing to unleash like a massive class of recruits next week, so look out for that. Millie's obviously going to be a part of it. Best of luck to her under the WWE umbrella.
Yet another talent being fed into WWE by WCPW/Defiant. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Jake, who says, if you could have one WWE championship defended at WrestleMania in a multi-person ladder match, which championship would you choose?
Cruiserweights, man. Like, flippy doos. Give me some flippy doos on the WrestleMania card. Why the hell not? I don't think for the life of me that they're going to put the Cruiserweight title on the WrestleMania main card. But look, I would take 15 minutes of the smaller, more athletic people on WWE's roster doing mad flips off of high things and crazy spots. And sometimes you just want a big plate of sweeties, of candy, don't you? You want that sugar rush, and I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I think you got to look at what championships have got a lot of people circulating around them, and I'd say for that you have to kind of go for the Intercontinental Championship. You know, the list of names that you could just hoy onto that match. Obviously, you've got the champ Big E, you've got Apollo Crews, you've got Sami Zayn, you could put Nakamura, Cesaro. Like, in terms of a crowd-pleasing welcome back, here's a bonkers ladder match for you. I can't see any problems with that. But, yeah, I'll just take a ladder match with people actually in person reacting to it, to be honest, Andy. Although they did do quite a lot of gimmick matches last year.
Yeah, they did. 10% of all ladder matches in WWE history happened in 2020. Every time I hear that, it sounds weirder, but it's true. It's crazy.
Yeah, so maybe just one ladder match at WrestleMania, and then we'll leave it for a bit until TLC, probably. Mike on the mic gives us our second question today. Great to hear from you again. Mike says, with Bad Bunny as the new 24/7 champion and performing this weekend on Saturday Night Live, do you think R-Truth and a host of WWE wrestlers will invade SNL to reclaim/capture the championship during his performance? Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I think if they don't do this, they'll probably do some kind of behind the scenes thing to get the belt back on Tozawa or R-Truth or somebody. Yeah, I could definitely see them doing this. I think it makes sense as well. Wrestling needs to create new fans. You need people who aren't familiar or aren't watching pro wrestling to take notice, and one way of doing that is collaborating with a show like this, of course. Whether or not 24/7 antics are going to attract new fans is a different debate. But yes, I do think we'll see something, and I think we should see something.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is a great way to potentially attract new eyes to the product, and I'm excited about it, but I'm also terrified, like you say, just like, please don't make us look stupid. Yeah. Like, plan it out properly, and if you're going to have R-Truth talk, don't make him do comedy that would only appeal to Vince McMahon.
Oh, no. Yeah, don't do that.
But there's excitement around it, at least. Final question today comes from Marky Lou G, who says, hey guys, just a thought. Do you think Undertaker might go into movies? And if so, what type of movies would you like to see him in?
Boneyard matches, just boneyard matches that are 90 minutes long. I don't think we'll see that. I think he'll probably have some offers, some little, straight to DVD gimmicks perhaps. But I think that we will see Mark McCool show up as a performance center coach or producer or something along those lines, grooming the next generation of talent rather than moving into something like acting.
Yes, he's not retired. He's going to have another wrestling match, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But putting that to one side, as much as people have sat there going, oh, maybe you could do a sort of Gran Torino sort of role, Clint Eastwood, the last gunslinger. I don't want to see him in that. I want to see him in Kindergarten Cop 2 or bloody The Pacifier or whatever, Cheaper by the Dozen. I want to see him in a kids' comedy, because I'm sadistic like that. But let us know in the comments. Maybe we'll pick out some of our best ones tomorrow. What movies you'd like to see The Undertaker being in. Let's move on to today's. And finally, Andy, have you seen this on Squared Circle? Someone is selling a rare vintage figurine, the prototype figurine, I think it is, of Miss Elizabeth. It's completely naked. So I'm not even sure if we're allowed to show it, but it's on sale right now on eBay. I just thought we'd play a little game where you'd guess what the buy it now price is for this naked, rare, vintage, resin prototype wrestling figurine of Miss Elizabeth.
$69.
It's a good guess.
Surely.
You're off by quite a bit. And you can do a best offer, so you don't have to necessarily match the buy it now price. But if you want that figurine with its certification and all that, $40,000. I'm off to remortgage the house to buy a Miss Elizabeth figurine. 40 grand, mate.
Yep.
That's done him in. Right, let us know your thoughts on that. Or the maddest thing you've paid, or the most you've paid for a bit of wrestling memorabilia. Let us know in the comments section down below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dudley Boys previewing the Wednesday Night War a little bit later on today. Andy has gone into a hole as a result of all this. Let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there, follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for hey, don't spend 40 grand on a wrestling figure, guys. You could get a mortgage with that, okay? Like, buy 10 cars or just be smarter with your money. Jesus.
Don't think you get it, Andy. She's naked. She is naked. So, you horny bastards. Follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at What Culture WWE. But for now, my thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you soon. She's naked. She's naked.